Welcome back. I'm Alaina. How can I work less while making more money? What is the #1 way to fast track you earning the most money you've ever made? Actually, even more than that while working less hours. Well, stay tuned because we're going to cover that in this video. We're going to cover why taking more action is not actually the fastest way to success. Then we'll go over the 5 steps you need to scale your business with ease. Then we're going to discuss the 3 must-haves to leverage in your business and what you're probably doing to leave money on the table and what you could be doing in your sales to increase your conversion rate. And by the end of this video, you'll know what to do to lead your team and ultimately your business to unlimited profits. So let's get started. So there are 2 parts to this. There's the working less part and there's the earning more part. 90% is your psychology and your mindset, and 10% is your execution and your action. So what does that mean? It means that 90% of your actual success is based on what's between your ears, what's going on in your subconscious mind, the programming that you have, your beliefs about what's possible for you and possible for your business, and how quickly you can accomplish it. For example, if you believe it's going to take a long time, it's going to take a long time. If you believe you have to work hard to succeed, you're going to work hard for that success. If you believe money can't come easy, then you're going to struggle to make the money that you want. Now that is what I'm talking about by the psychology, the mindset. And that's mostly where I work, right? But then there's this other 10%, which is the execution, which is the action, which is consistency, which is actually taking the action. One of the things that I talk to my clients about is once they're clearing their mindset and they're shifting their limiting beliefs and moving them to new empowered beliefs, then you're able to get clarity. First of all, my clients tune into their super conscious mind, so it makes it really easy for them to have that clarity. But even if you're not tuning into your super conscious mind, the next step will always be revealed. If you're paying attention, if you create awareness and a little stillness, the next step will always be revealed. And as that step is revealed, take action on it. You have to take action on it. And once you take action on it, then the next step is revealed. Then you take action on that step. Then the next step is revealed. And before you know it, you've got the entire path laid out in front of you, one step at a time. Now, typically what entrepreneurs do is they think, I need to know the how. I need to know the entire how of how I'm gonna do this to make this successful. And that's not actually even true, and it's not even your job. It's the universe's job to do the heavy lifting of the how. It's your job to take the action that you're given. And so when you move to a place of trust and faith, you can move into a place of again, moving into that 90% mindset, right? That influences that 10% action. So you can create that consistent action and continue to take the next step as you get it. Now, one of the other ways to really create a lot of income in your business is through manifesting. Now, this is not the law of attraction type of manifesting. Law of attraction is super inconsistent because it's reliant on what's going on in your subconscious mind. Now, if all of those beliefs are going on in your subconscious mind, which they are, that we were talking about, then they're going to be working at cross purposes with the law of attraction. So what's really key is to be able to clear your ego mind, to be able to clear those limiting beliefs. I teach my client a 3-step manifestation that requires them to be able to tap into their superconscious mind, to be able to clear what's in the way so that they can manifest with ease. And it works every single time. It's not the kind of thing that works only some of the time. It works every single time. And the key to that is tapping into your inner genius, that super conscious mind, that infinite part of yourself that is the all-knowing part of yourself, right? Because from quantum physics, there is this, let's say, all past, present, and future exists in the now. And that means whatever happens in your future, all the infinite versions of what's happening in your future, your inner genius has access to. It knows how to get you from point A to point B on no resistance. not even the path of least resistance, on no resistance. On the path of least resistance, there's still some resistance there. We don't need to create resistance. So you can get there on the path of no resistance by learning how to tap into your inner genius. Now, in this video here, I talk about how to tap into your superconscious mind so that you can watch that video after this video, and it will help give you some tips and tricks on how to cultivate that for yourself. Now, tapping into that inner genius also does two other things that are super important. It tells you the exact right strategy to take in your business, what you should be doing in your business. The other thing that I have my clients do is tune in every morning to their inner genius and ask, what should I be doing today? So that their work during the day is planned from a higher level of consciousness. It isn't planned from the subconscious programming that they have typically running their business. And so that they're able to work from a higher level of intelligence, from a higher level of creativity, inspiration, and ideas. One of my favorite tools is actually something I call feelingizations. Now, you may have heard of visualizations, where you visualize, you future project essentially the life that you want to have, and you visualize it. Now, there is some effectiveness in that, but it's a fraction of as effective as if you add feeling to it. So when you add feeling to those visualizations, so for example, all of a sudden you see yourself in your perfect day, how does that make you feel? And you conjure those feelings as you're visualizing it, because feelings are actually, the energy of feelings move 920 million times more than the speed of your voice, right? So when you think about how powerful the energy of feelings is, the visuals are what broadcast it out to the universe. The feelings are what bring it back to you. And so by being able to do visualization with feelings, you're kickstarting, you're fast-tracking your visualization skills to bring in more income for you to live your business as you're seeing it in your mental pictures. Now, I created 6 figures in the first 7 months of my business, first year and 7 months in my business. But then because I had some patterns that basically said dangerous things happen when I make too much money, because that's what I experienced when I was younger, I would tank my income every time I would make good income. So I literally went into massive amounts of debt, like over $60,000 of debt. So not only, I mean, it was just horrible. And what ended up happening was a lot of shame and guilt. I was experiencing a lot of shame and guilt because I was struggling to pay my rent. I was almost evicted. I had to go on public assistance. I was literally tapping into like my 9-year-old savings account to pay for food and gas. I mean, the amount of shame and guilt I had. And on top of that, I was helping people grow and scale their businesses, but I couldn't do it for myself, which only created this massive imposter syndrome that people were going to find out what was really going on behind the scenes. The curtain was going to be peeled back and I was going to be exposed for the fraud that I was, even though my clients were really getting stellar results. And then I started doing the work of learning how to tap into my inner genius on demand, to tap into that superconscious mind. And I used my superconscious mind to clear my subconscious mind, to clear the shame and guilt, to clear the limiting beliefs about me not being deserving of more, of having to work hard to succeed, of not being able to be consistent in my results. And before I knew it, within an 18-month period, well, within basically a year, 13 months, I 7 times my income. And in 18 months, I 10 times my income. And I have to tell you, I did nothing different in my strategy. I was still using the same exact strategy I was before I 10 times my income. It's just that when you shift your mindset, right? When you clear out that self-limiting paradigm that's going on, it allows you to create a completely different reality because you're taking action from a different place. And now the action starts to work. So you can actually have a really bad mindset, and no matter how great your strategy is, it will be hard to make that strategy work. But if you have a really consistent, stellar mindset, you can make a mediocre strategy work. And that's exactly what I did to 10x my income, just from shifting my limiting beliefs in my paradigm and following the guidance of my inner genius. So it's time to take the shiz out of your biz while working less and making more. And so make sure that you like and subscribe, because I put out a lot of content on exactly how you do that and give away a lot of value. So make sure you like and subscribe so you get notified when that content comes out. Now, one of the things that mindset is also key for is, well, there's two things. There's both sales, converting in sales. That's the marketing term that's used of when you bring a potential client to a sales call and then they enroll to work with you, they sign up to work with you. That's considered a conversion. And so in raising your conversion rate as well as raising your prices, it is absolutely key to have the right mindset. Now, I can tell you, I work with multiple 7- and 8-figure businesses, and the founders of the businesses still have issues with raising their prices, right? So you can think, oh, well, when I'm that much more successful, I won't have that issue anymore. No, it's still the same issue, just at a higher level. That's all it is, right? So they may be charging $35,000, wanting to charge $50,000 to $100,000 versus charging, $2,000 to $5,000 and then wanting to charge $10,000. But I can tell you that I help my clients raise their prices all the time, like my client Pammy. And when my client Pammy started working with me, she was afraid to raise her prices. She was afraid she was going to alienate the people she was working with, and she wasn't going to get people to say yes. How could she possibly deliver? She was already over-delivering, so how can she deliver any more to make up for the price exchange? Because she equated raising her prices with having to deliver more rather than the value and the result and the outcome that her clients were actually already getting. So when she raised her prices, and she 50% raised her prices, she literally started getting it effortlessly and with ease, and started attracting a higher caliber client, which is the kind of client she actually worked with. Now, when she learned sales skills, the mindset of sales, because there's actually a skill set of sales, but then there's a mindset of sales, right? And like, for example, I'll give you one mindset of sales example of a double binding message. So you might be on a sales call, maybe you'll call it a discovery call or a sales call or a consultation or whatever it is for you. And all of a sudden you're saying the exact right thing that your potential client needs to hear. But they're like, well, I need to think about it, or well, I need to talk to my husband. But I said everything right. What was going on? Well, were you desperate for this sale? Were you feeling like if you don't make this sale, you're not going to be able to pay your bills? Like, the client isn't your bills. Your clients are the channel for money to come through. Money comes from source. Source is the source of your income. People are not the source of your income. People are the channel for your income. And if it doesn't come through one channel, it'll come through another channel. But you have to have the mindset of going, okay, well, either that client self-selected or there's a better client for me even around the corner. And when you have that mindset of trusting, then what you say, there's a resonance between what you say and how you say it, the energy, so that people will want to work with you then. Then 9 out of 10 people will want to work with you as a result. Now, often another reason that people aren't making more money and it's causing a lot of overwork is they're not working on income-producing activities. They're busy, they're doing a lot of work, but they're not focused on income-producing activities. So you have to look at your business and understand what are the actual activities that are going to drive leads, that are going to drive business development, that are going to drive sales, because that is the lifeblood of your business. You providing value and getting paid for providing the value is the lifeblood of your business. And the more that you can do that, the more your business will thrive. Now, the last key to be able to make money and free up your time is to build out your team. Now, in my last video, I talked about how to hire before you're ready. Right? And that's absolutely key. I have had so many clients who didn't either want to relinquish control to other people, so they were afraid to hire because they were afraid that they would be giving up control, or they were afraid that the hires weren't going to do it as good as them. And those are usually the top two. There may be others, but those are usually the top two reasons that people are afraid. One of the other reasons might be like, am I going to make enough money to sustain paying this person? And the truth is, if you don't, you don't. Right? That is the truth. If you don't make enough money to sustain hiring them, then you let them go. But I have never seen that happen with all my clients. Every one of my clients who has hired a team member and hired before they were ready and hired not understanding if they were going to be able or not knowing if they were going to be able to continue to pay that salary has massively up-leveled their business as a result. So if your business is making you feel stressed and overwhelmed, then tune into my next video where I show you how to get out of anxiety in your business, because I'll give you the tips and the tricks to help you ensure that you're in a business that you love to show up in every day. Thanks. I'm Alaina, and I'll see you in the next video.